I like it. I think particularly in the more complex area of Upper Hammond, I think, as opposed to North Hammond, the three potential, or the three plans are within the bounds of what everybody was talking about. So they reflect the range of opinions that people had.
I'm really impressed. I am really always interested in hearing research that's done in the community, because information is what we need to make good decisions, right? So it's great to see a plan being developed, and it's great to see it developed on good information.
I was impressed by the amount of thought and care that went into producing all of these options, and using the color coding makes it easy to understand what possibilities for the future are.
The plan looks like a good one. I'm a little concerned about the density thing on there, but I think it's going in the right direction as far as preserving the heritage value, the heritage theme in the community, because it's very important to the community to have the heritage retained.
To me, the primary concern is, does it still look like a old-fashioned small town? The heritage character is one of the most important pieces. It's why I moved there.
A lot of good things. If they impact you in a positive way, there'll be some things for some people that might not be so impactful in a positive way. But growth is what's been going on in Hammond for over 25, 30 years. And there's been a lot of positive changes over the years.
It's exciting. I love that the heritage character is being used as a kind of a focal point for all of Hammond. And that the density is kind of being used to support that heritage and the history and revitalizing it.
My first thoughts are surprise. When I saw the three plans come through in the mail, I didn't understand them. I want to be really upfront. I did not understand them at all. So my impression was, oh no, everything's going to be ripped out and torn down and the character's going to be gone as one of these options. We got to stop that. Being here and having it explained really, really helps. Now I understand that as people move in, choices are available to them, and that the options that are there, option 2 is pretty close to what already exists, but option 1 and 3 are more about preserving the character of Hammond and not making massive changes, yet still addressing the needs of the community. I do, and I really appreciate that.
I believe it has, yes.
Yes, I do feel my voice has been heard.
Yes, absolutely. And I was just saying that it's been really interesting to learn how this process works. I've really appreciated having the chance to talk to, tonight with the planners, but also going back months with other information sessions and other things on the website, just seeing how the planning and process, what it is. And so, yeah, it's been great.
My voice has definitely been heard. It's been a slow process, but it's been one where people who care can certainly make themselves heard.
In the early 90s, I was a strong vocal advocate for Hammond. I was very involved with mayor and council. So to see this happening today, where some protection is being discussed, well, that's a positive thing. We can't keep it all, but we should really keep the stuff that's important, shouldn't we?
Yeah, we've attended, I think, every open house that they've had. We participated, we submitted a lot of photos for the part, so it's lovely to see them throughout all of the presentations. And it really helps focus the things that I love about Hammond personally. We see the pictures of the flowers and the neighborhood gatherings, and it really helps to create a goal of what we're going towards and what we want to build more of.
We didn't, one thing I think that was quite popular at the last consultation was ideas around recreational places. And I understand that those aren't the highest priority and the first thing that you think about, but that's still something I'd like to see. I'd be interested to see what the thinking is there.
The high density housing bothers me because of the road situations. There's so much traffic now. There needs more road improvement before you add townhouses and all the cars that go with them.
More parks, more trails along the river. If the Cedar Mill ever shuts down, it should be a whole park. The whole thing should be a park.
As to taking into concept the future growth with the industrial park, with the impact of some of that industry with regards to how the road structure will be set up.
I would love more of a guarantee that new buildings that are built, especially in the heritage character area, are going to be held to guidelines, that they won't be huge box houses that don't fit in. I think a business plan for Hammond, there's so much filming that happens around here because it's a heritage area, that if we keep that style and that consistency, it could be any era, from now back to 1900, So I love that. I would love to keep that potential.
I'd like to see businesses develop in that business corridor that already exists. And I think the trick to that is who wants to move in there and open up a business. So it's not up to us, it's up to the businesses that will move in.
I'm really excited about the potential for revitalizing the commercial areas of Hammond, and I'm happy to see ideas around increased density, because I think that's important for the community as a whole to have more affordable housing and density can provide that. And yet there's still respect for the character houses and the character neighborhoods.
Oh, the potential for the area. I think the rejuvenation and the revitalization that will happen as a result of just having the area plan and having had this focus on it is really exciting.
I'm happy to see the character of Hammond being preserved.
Keeping a lot of the heritage value, that's the one I'm most happy about.
The four-way stop at Lorne and Maple Crescent. Everybody seems to be listening and wanting to make sure that we are heard. And there's questionnaires online, and they're trying to keep our neighborhood informed.
I have seen, because my suggestions are echoed by other people that I know, I see I do see that reflected.
I think most of them have been captured. Community gardens would be nice, but again, I think that's up to us to step forward and start pushing and doing that. I'd like to make sure that traffic calming stays in the neighborhood. There looks like to be a plan to link up the industrial park to Lower Hammond, so traffic calming would be really important with that, so we don't have racing through the neighborhood. But I think most of it has been addressed, and as things happen, then we'll have more questions.
Some of them they've captured, yes, they have. It's good to have some of those captured. There's a lot of history to Hammond. There's a lot of people that grew up here or that are involved in the community, and it's very important for them to have their heritage, still able to them, available to them.
All through the process, one of the things that my neighbors and I kept talking about were saying, yes, there are no sidewalks. Yes, there are big ditches. Yes, there's all these kind of throwbacks, and people are like, oh, it's so behind. But it's like, if you want sidewalks, you want covered ditches, you want all these things, they are in any neighborhood, especially the new developments. If you want that, there's tons to choose from. If you want the old-fashioned feeling, if you want the heritage feeling, there's only one Hammond.
Curious enough, I would change the boundaries because they're not the official boundaries of the Hammond area. Hammond area was basically what they call the Ward 1, postal code, postal Ward 1, and it basically it's eliminated with the change in the boundaries, it's eliminated a couple of the heritage farms that were part of Hammond, the Ladies and the Hampton Farm.
The one concern I have is that the mill manager's house, the Hartnell house, deserves some kind of designation, but that is again partly up to the people who own that house. So we need to make sure that those tools are available, but you can't make people do something with their private property, right? So.
I mean, a lot of it has to come from residents. And to preserve the houses that already exist, I don't know how that's going to get done. I think it feels like there's a window that the people who live there and obviously love the heritage of that house need to put something in process that will preserve that house, because the next person, you never know what's going to happen to it. So if there can be some kind of way to make that easier and encourage the people that live there now and say, yes, this is a clear process, it will preserve your house. It doesn't mean you can't make changes in the future. It just means that it can't be torn down. We can't just say, yeah, not a part of our history anymore, and be replaced by something that doesn't fit in.
I love the history of Hammond, so I guess what I would change is not changing.
Oh, I think it's that we've developed such a close-knit community where people know each other and care about each other, and yeah, the houses are great, the parks are great, yada yada, but really it's the community that's really great.
Oh, the neighborliness and those big trees and the small houses and the ballpark and the park at the center that is still there, that the Hammond brothers set aside when they laid out the streets.
Just the people that live here. There's a lot of characters in this area. Unfortunately, we've lost a few of them, but there's still a few around.
The favorite thing about Hammond is walking down the street and being able to see a streetscape that's full of trees and flowers and little gates and little fences. The old-fashioned feeling of a neighborhood.
The history and the neighborhoods and my neighbors.
My favorite thing about Hammond is that it's home. This is my home, this is my community. I grew up here, I'm raising my son here.
You mean other than I put my whole life here? Other than the fact that my children, my wife, her entire family have grown up here?
Take a walk around Hammond before you make any decisions. Talk to the people who live here, see the uniqueness of our community. We're an interesting, amazing, and wonderful place.
Thank you for following it through, and thank you for taking another look at an area that has not had a look at for a long time, has not been looked at for a long time.
If you've got the schooling and the parks and the roads and everything flows, then move with the time.
Yeah, I would ask the council to consider this plan very carefully and honor it in the future, because it's clearly been put together with really robust consultation and really good information. So please respect it.
It's taken a long time, but I think it's been worth it, and I hope that you will adopt option 3.
Well, get on with it. The people have spoken, now it's time for you to act.